Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Laser Sports Academy podcast. I am very, very happy to be here with two very special guests today. We're here with Mantis, aka
Hello.
Jacinta Lang, and with SEGA, aka Alex Newman. How you going, guys?
Very well, thank you.
How are you doing? What's up?
I'm really good. I just chatting to you guys for a few minutes before this pod just instantly puts a smile on your face and gets me feeling good about myself. So no, it's so much positive, good juju vibes coming out of you guys. I love it.
PME, positive mental energy.
Oh, that's the ingredients. Well, we're all about ingredients tonight. The ingredients to amazing success of programs. That's what we're here to unpack today, and also to find out about you guys and your team, the Archangels, because as everybody in the Australian community already knows, you guys had an amazing run. I've been told it's a record finals run in a big Australian tournament. Went from 11th into the finals, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But before that, we want to talk about you guys and just a little bit of an intro for some of especially our international guests who might not know who you guys are. You guys play for the Hobart Archangels. You have playing at a top level since the Rumble, which was the sort of Nats replacement back in 2020, and you've played two Nats since then. You both have got two third places now in pre-Nats. The first one was at your home Nats last year, and this one was at Albury, which was extra special. And Jacinta, you also have a third in women's that you received at home. So that's a little bit about their resume. Now I'm going to hand over to you guys, and I'd love for you guys to share a little bit about how you got into laser tag and a little bit about your journey and how your team formed over since 2020.
Well, where do you start? I guess it's Zone 3 Hobart. 4-hour Friday is probably the biggest calling, I guess. It was the main event. So once a month you'd spend $25 to play 4 hours of unlimited laser tag, and you had a couple of big names like Leper and Ling Ling usually attending those. And at one point, probably about 10 years ago, I guess, Ling Ling turned to me and he said, "Hey, do you want to come to a nationals?" And I said, "No, I'm a bit too cool for that. I play state soccer." And it wasn't until COVID died down in 2020 where a couple of mates said, "Hey, do you want to go to this casual league at Zone 3? And I said, "Casual league, like competitive laser tag?" And they said, "Yeah." So I come along and I meet Mantis and Runt and all these people, and they go, "Oh, you've got a bit of a knack for this." And I said, "Well, don't mean to brag, but I got invited to nationals about 8 years ago." And they go, "Wow, no, that's really cool. That's really cool." But and the rest is history, I guess. We attended Rumble. I went on a 9-month hiatus and came back, and Easy Points said to me, "Hey, do you want to join a team?" And I said, "Well, funnily enough, I do, but I have one condition." And he said, "What's that?" And I said, "The team has to be called Archangels." And he said, "Why is that?" And it was when we played Rumble, the Hobart Hustlers was my team. We were codenamed Mikey's Angels, and I just like the idea of angels, and I was like, "Oh, Archangels would be really cool." So, and it just kind of stuck.
I feel like Alex should also note that what happened with the Archangels concept wasn't just like, let's be Archangels. He'd made a whole shirt design and was like, "This is the design. We need the team now."
Well, it's been good to know that you guys actually recruited actual Archangels, because they were overlooking your team on the weekend and they just sent down all the whatever was required to get you guys through those.
Good juju.
The juju. You guys surrounded by juju. You guys have found the next ingredient, the next big play in laser sporting. It's like, okay, you've got to get some like gods and stuff involved.
Divine recruitment. Yeah, that was the special ingredient.
That's all it took. Yeah.
Good, okay. I'm not sure it's in the rules. You're not supposed to have like 15 people on your team, guys.
Don't tell anyone, Bootza.
Right, okay, secret safe, mate. Oh, yeah, cool. So, and then your team came together. So I noticed you actually had celery on your team for the pre-nats, didn't you? The most recent one.
Yeah, but also the first rendition of Archangels. So
Oh, was it?
originally, yeah, Bendigo, when that was like the first time that we played, it was Shuri Kitty, it was Sega. We had Link from Queensland, Celery, and myself.
We
Right.
were actually meant to have easy points at that comp, but he had to pull out literally last minute because of COVID. And this one hit up Link and said, "Hey, are you busy this weekend? Would you like to captain a pre-nats team?" And he said, "I'll be on the next flight, pretty much."
Very good. So he captained you guys. Link captained you guys at that pre-nats.
Yeah, yep.
It was
Oh.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, that would
yeah.
have been fun. Cool.
That was kind of version 1 Archangels.
So there's been
Yeah.
a few iterations of Archangels. It's kind of a moving, shifting thing.
I think that's kind of something that's been really important in the makeup of Archangels, and it's kind of been, at least in my vision, that almost anyone could be an Archangel. You just, like, if you're friendly and positive and, we get it along with you, then that's pretty much everything that you need to be an Archangel, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. It's all about the good vibes.
Okay, very good. There's a very specific recruitment process in the application form. It's like you can send them through to some psychometric testing, just test their vibe levels.
Yeah, you wouldn't make
Are
the
they
cut.
vibing? I know. That's why I'm asking so many questions. I'm like, okay, we'd have to work on here to be able to get a spot on this team right now.
You got to kill someone.
Don't kill someone. Oh, good. Okay, I'm glad we covered that one. Very good. So, are we expecting to see Celery on your team for Nats as well?
We really don't know. There's a lot of funny things that with Zeltak's spare players, and there's also a slot at home that we still need to fill. So it's pretty much going to come down to the wire with who our potential 6 could be. So
yeah, true.
That's still on the pipe works at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll keep that under wraps then. So tell us a little bit about the other players on your team, just for the people that maybe international players. Just a little bit about each player and the roles that you guys play as well. So I know what roles you guys kind of play, but some of the other people out there don't. Give us a bit of an insight.
Do you want to kick it off?
I'm Sega, I guess. I'm recently got what I'd like to call battlefield promoted to game
Ascended
captain.
is called.
Yes. Easy points was a late game injury just after pre-nats 2. And he pretty much sat us all down and said, "Hey, look, I'm not going to be able to make PN3." And I kind of said, "Are you guys all good with me stepping up to the plate?" And everyone kind of begrudgingly said, "Yeah, all right, that's fine." My role pretty much on most renditions of Archangels has been opening or lead attacker. So,
which you do a great job at.
Quite often you'll see me sort of floating around bases looking for base hits and opportunities. So that's my role, I guess.
Awesome. And
I'm more of a defender.
Yeah.
For those of people who have played me, probably you've always seen me at home because that's usually where I am. Mostly on a door though, just because I tend to add probably comms is my main value to the team because I can yell quite loudly. So I'll usually
Your voice is still ringing through my head from pre-nats too, mate.
I am so sorry.
It's such a talent.
Yeah. Oh, it's one of those things. It's like if you can do nothing else, at least there's something. Usually I'm on a door, and then I've been kind of playing more of a float role in Albury, which is really fun, being able to kind of push out a little bit, which is really.
It is a very fun arena to float from, isn't it?
It is awesome, and because it's so much bigger than Hobart, that's something that I've been really enjoying about Albury. Is like playing at home is obviously really, really fun. And we do have a pretty unique arena in Hobart, but playing at Albury has been a really good experience just because it's so different. So that's been really good. Yeah.
We did a pod recently. We were talking about the Albury Arena, and something I love about it is that I love the Tassie Arena, the Hobart Arena, but the Albury Arena, the floats aren't quite as obvious, are they? Like in Hobart, it's like pretty much know where you're floating to each time because the arena is very much more compact. Whereas at
Yeah.
Albury, it's like, well, you've got a few options here. You could zig or you could zag, or you could push a little bit further, or maybe not quite as far, and gives you, as a floater, gives you a lot more autonomy to like
loads of
customize what you're
opportunities.
doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it
for
requires
sure.
you to have to make making decisions as well along the way. Like, oh shit, how far am I going to float here? Depending on the situation. So yeah, it's very fun.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. And then joining the lineup this year, we've also got Shirikitty. So
I was about to ask you about Shirikitty. I did notice she got top of the solo ladder for the Archangels at Pre-Nats 3.
Absolutely smashed it. She did an amazing job. Yeah, and especially considering she's also got an injury at the moment, which I don't know if I should mention that or not, but finals was... Please don't hurt her anymore. But going into finals after playing, we played like 10 games before we headed into finals throughout the day.
Yeah, 10 games.
So. Yeah, so we played quite a lot of laser tag, and then going into finals, it was like really late in the day, and she was still absolutely giving it 200%. So she did an incredible job over the course of the weekend.
Wow.
And she's been playing mostly attacky.
Yeah. Pretty much since Archangels form, like Grace has always been sort of the floaty attacker, I guess. And it kind of, as part of Hobart, her and I sort of became attacking partners, and the combination of really, really tall person and really, really small person just kind of kicked off. So
she's a lot more stealthy than SEGA is.
Yeah. Well, I always find with her, it's just like I miss the first shot every time because my phase is always this far above where it needs to be. Like, down there. But she's such a crafty player too, and super smart. Like her positioning and everything, and so she's perfect to have in attack because she can. You've got to be a bit creative, right? Like you got to come up against these really amazing defenses that are all set up and waiting for you, and you've got to try to invent a way to get through them sometimes, depending on what's going on. So. Because she's such a smart player, she's great. I can see how she'd be really handy in attack.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Grace is just naturally talented. Like she started playing just before Rumble as well too. So she joined Alex on Hustlers. So they were on a team together. And I remember the first comp she played at home, and literally never done any social night, never done any casual league. Walks into a comp is the first thing she does with her dad. And just absolutely obliterated every single person there. It was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. So she's just naturally gifted. And I mean, she's still progressing, of course. She grows and grows every day in every comp, but she's just naturally gifted, which is really, really special. And I'm very glad she's on our team and not on someone else's versing us, because even playing her at home, it's you're always hoping that you'll be on the same team, never against her.
Well, she's very versatile too. So I saw her last line in Pre-Nats 2, and I was reffing, and she was. People were having that's right. She was playing in Runt's team for that comp. In the grand final, I reffed the grand final, and people were having all kinds of trouble getting through.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah. So tell me about the remaining couple of players as well on your team for what you know you'll have at Nats.
So we picked up a couple of Cerberus boys. So we recruited Tiger and Rizla. Rizla is my brother, and everyone knows Rookie of the Year Tiger from last year. But both are very good all-rounders that we've found. And they honestly, you can put them on a door, you can put them under, you can put them out on lead attack if you wanted to. They just both boys know how to play. They just both of them pretty much just walked into the game and knew how it worked, I guess, is the best way I can explain it.
Yeah, and because everyone's so chill as well too, it's really good because every game you can just be like, go here, go there. If someone's not feeling it, they can just, swap out, and they're all quite versatile in that respect, which is really great. It's not like your traditional, like, just here, just there. They're all really good at, like, all of the skills.
I can just imagine how fun it would be to play on your guys' team. Like, it doesn't matter how bad things go in a game. I can just imagine it's just going to be totally cool when we come out and
chilling.
Yeah.
Did those boys? What roles did they play at pre-nats? Were they just kind of utilities? Like you just basically put them wherever they need to go, essentially?
Well, unfortunately, we didn't have Tiger at the most recent comp, so we picked up Celery. But Rizzler was pretty much our anchor for the whole comp, and he was doing some amazing work, especially in our Ascensions games in blue. I believe Dragon said that he was like a ballerina in their element.
Very fluid.
Yeah.
That's impressive because he was on the I wasn't at the comp, so I'm just looking at the charts and the stats and stuff like that to get a little bit of an insight into what happened. But he essentially equaled Shuri Kitty on the solo.
Yeah.
Impact, yes, it was insane. It was insane.
So I'm like, how does that happen from like last line?
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive to be able to still get enough score ratio to.
It was
stay
incredible.
Right up there.
Yeah, absolutely. He was doing God's work.
Yeah.
Essentially. And Tiger didn't play pre-nats though with us, unfortunately, but did play pre-nats too on Runt's team. And he was doing excessively well.
Yeah.
So we're really excited to welcome him into the Aubrey Maze when we head there for Nats.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time for him, isn't it? He's going to be right up the top.
Yeah,
oh, absolutely. Yeah, fantasy for sure.
Yeah, fantasy Tiger. We'll see what comes in at first. We'll see what his cost is. He's
Yeah.
a few extra zeros on the end of his price now. That is, whatever. What did he get? Did he get the Rookie of the Year? Is that what he?
Rookie,
yeah, no doubt. He won't go. He won't go under the radar this year.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Awesome. I have to look at my questions. I just got totally lost in our conversation now. I don't even know where we're going now. So let's talk a little bit about the development of you guys as a team. Tell us a little bit about how hard you've been training, like what kind of work you've put in to get to this point over the last few years.
Well, I think so after I came back from my mini hiatus, I guess, and it was just after Bendigo PN1, which is when I sort of had the conversation with Easy Points. We were starting to train pretty frequently. Like we do Monday night league. Wednesday night we usually try and get some 5x3s running if we've got enough, and Thursdays nights is like a skills and drills night. So essentially we're training three nights a week, and we've been doing that pretty consistently since Bendigo, I guess.
Really? That's amazing.
Because the nats have been quite close together. Usually we would have like a decent break and just be doing casual stuff. But because they've been, I don't want to say back to back, but not a whole year in between, we've been pretty much back into training. Obviously we have occasional breaks after pre-nats and things like that, but generally it's 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And of course you would have been having a home nats. That would have just been all the motivation you needed to train your ass off, essentially.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'd say that, but I think we actually kind of took a few extra opportunities being a home nats. We went to New Zealand invites, and we also did a random Canberra comp as well, just to sort of get out of our own arena, because getting a bit
it's
cabin
really easy,
feverish.
to plateau. There's a problem with, I don't want to say the problem. I love Hobart, but because we don't have a whole lot of players, when we were training for Hobart Nationals in particular, we had our 3 teams and we're versing the same 3 teams. And because of that, it's really easy to play the same game over and over again. And so it was really good, those opportunities to get out to invites in Canberra just to spice it up, just because we didn't have that extra team that we could kind of rotate with and keep it super fresh. So took those opportunities for sure.
And I think that played well into Cerberus's development, because it kind of got to the point where Archangels and Cerberus probably weren't going to win against Vikings all that often. I think Archangels were taking 1 in every 18 games against Vikings. But Archangels and Cerberus were constantly climbing for that second position, I guess. And it got to the point where, we were quite close, and at Nats last year, we were in a double elim game against them, and that going back and watching it, we still shouldn't have won that game. Cerberus had every right to win it, but we only just got there. So
They surprised everybody. Like
Genuinely.
everybody kind of had positioned in their mind what the A, B, and C team were going to be in Hobart, and then we'd never seen what people thought. I mean, it's clear now they weren't necessarily a C team; they were a really good team. They were, but it was clear that it was like we'd never seen a Hobart C team like that before, like ever.
Yeah.
You know, they were really good, and I think they knocked us off. The first game we played them, they beat us.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, okay, these guys are good. And I remember like my instructions during that game was like, okay, go out to Cerberus and just like score points. And I rocked up and they just absolutely towed me. They were just all positioning so perfectly and making sure I couldn't get on a run of more than one tag. I was like, no, I'm just going to go home and call it quits at this point. I was really well organised.
Yeah, it was awesome. And having that conversation going into that Nationals too for Hobart, it was really good. We had like a chatters committee and we're like, we don't want this A, B, and C. We want us all to be, you know, doing our best. And it's really a kind of like rising tide lifts all ships mentality in Hobart, where it's like one of our teams might have the opportunity to go away, but then they'll come back and they'll teach everyone so much so we can all kind of learn and grow together. And I think that's really special, being able to all kind of work together to develop our skills as a group, even though we might be on separate teams.
Yeah.
That's an amazing attitude to have in your community. And I think it's the results are speaking for themselves with how the growth, not just, you know, clearly the Vikings have taken that next step as well. And the whole community, you know, next to them is rising as well. And to have two teams in a final of a competition which is considered as competitive as Nats, like it, you know, the only difference between pre-Nats and Nats is that Nats has probably got the you know, the thing that sits on Doug Burbage's website as the national winner.
Yeah.
that's the difference. But all the top level players agree that it's as competitive. Some even think it's more competitive because you know, it's a limited number of teams that are allowed into the competition. So, and all the top teams go because they want to have practice for Nats. So, from that perspective, you've got you know, two teams now that are competing at the top end. So, you know, taking that approach has clearly got results for you. And I noticed you said you've picked up a few Cerberus players. Do you guys still have a third Hobart team? Now you've got Vikings and Archangels. Is there a third Hobart team still that you can train with on a regular basis?
We've got a couple of players that we're sort of bringing up from casual league at the moment that we're trying to sort of incorporate into a third team. We couldn't make a third team happen for Nats this year, just because, you know, everyone wanted to grow up and have lives, I guess.
Everyone's got a lot of commitments this year, so they're still coming to training and all of that sort of thing. So we've still got the regulars, but it's just not as frequent and not enough to form a whole third team. Yeah, unfortunately this year.
That's all good. I mean, if you've got the third team rocking up, if you've got a third team at training, that's hugely beneficial. And like, I felt like I've said it many times, but the big shift that happened for Queenslanders when we got that third team to train with. We were always that team that lingered in between 4th and 6th at Nationals. And as soon as we had three strong teams, you know, around 2012, 2013, straight after that is when we started to really progress, essentially. And then we started to get multiple teams that were able to compete at that top level. So, yeah, I really hope you can continue to bring those younglings through and, have that extra. It's
like a snowball effect, isn't it?
Totally. You get to train at a high level every week, you know, 3 times a week even. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Sorry, just reviewing my questions here.
That's right. We can interview you.
Oh, yeah, you interview me. I just wrote a question that was completely, couldn't make any sense of. I'm like, what am I asking there? I just wanted to ask about your home Nats. What did that do for your team development?
I think we kind of we learnt a lot in terms of like we sort of had pros and cons, I guess. You know, the pros were obviously being able to train on brand new equipment with the introduction of H2. So our pack skills kind of went up. We wanted to get our team sorted really early. So pretty much from PN1 onwards, we were playing with team cohesion in mind. So we wanted to, you know, increase our cohesion, increase our trust with our players. And of course, learning the funky shots and all that you get by playing your home maze 3, 4, 5, 7 times a week on the approach to some competitions. So, but I think as Jacinta sort of touched on, it was kind of pro meet con scenario because we were playing the same teams, sometimes the same strats, and it just kind of got to the point where it was like really, really repetitive. And I wouldn't say that we necessarily plateaued, but it was one of those things where we lost momentum. Maybe is the best way of explaining it, because we, you can only throw your head at a defender, 300 times before it gets a bit.
Yeah. I think the really good thing about the home nats, and this is something that's like super exciting if you ever get a home nats, is that you play your game in your home arena and you have your spots and where you stand. And then when you invite a whole bunch of new players in from other states and even like New Zealand, Sweden, all over, they play your maze differently. And even that first pre-nats one was just so incredible. People walking in and just shooting everything, and people standing in spots that you've never used in your entire life. And I think in the lead up to that first pre-nats, it was kind of like, cool, training in Hobart, just the same old. And then you got the first pre-nats one and you're like, wow, these people are crazy. And you learn so much more about your maze when you're inviting these other people into play. So that was really eye-opening. So I think you might have heard a few of the like podcasts that Runt did. And when it came to, pre-nats 1 predictions, 2, 3, it was always like Archangels. And it's funny because it would just, be like kind of like this at Hobart. And then we'd have a pre-nats 1 and it would just be like, I don't know what would happen, but we'd just, perform our best. And then we'd go back to training and it would kind of, I don't want to say plateau, but that's probably what it was. Would be like training again. And then pre-nats 2 would come and we'd be like, wah! And just versing other teams really gave us that opportunity to learn so much and grow in those like short weekends that we had. So it was quite a surreal year for us in our home arena, because those pre-nats especially were such good learning opportunities. But in between, it was just like back to normal training, even though that you've got a nats coming up. So it was quite surreal, the whole experience.
It's I always felt like we used to have a player that we played with called Shaz, and the year that Shaz played on our team in 2012, I feel like we played the best we ever played. We unfortunately had an accident on the team, like cans went down, he got run into by another player, had to go to hospital. We had to play the last few games of the Cascade 2 with 4 players, so we didn't actually get to finals that year. But I felt like we played the best we'd ever played. And it was because he always had us in a vibing and a good mood. Like the energy was always up. And I was like, what I learned from that year is that when the energy's good, you actually play better. Like when everyone's having a good time, everyone's laughing, like your timing improves, like your synergy with your team, like you kind of get tuned into them a lot more. You can kind of read each other's body language a lot more, and the whole team lifts. It kind
you
of
bounce
feels
off each other.
Yeah, bounce off each other. Like the team talks are more constructive and cohesive. And it sounds like that's for you guys what happens at comps. Like you're just like so happy to be playing in a big competition with all these people.
There's like the hype.
Fun. The hype and the energy, it kind of gets you guys up or something. Like you lift to a new level. It's great.
Hopefully we won't be sending anyone to hospital this year.
Don't send anybody to hospital. And if you want to beat these guys, you've got to show them a really terrible time. Like you've got to go up and tell them a really bad joke, or
We did that at pre-nats this year. It was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
We've held a talk time before a game. It was about 10 minutes of people telling the worst jokes ever. And the morale was high.
You could even keep morale high when people are telling bad jokes. This is just not working for anybody but okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about you guys now and your mentors. I want to hear about how you learnt your craft and who are the people that guided you along the way.
Do you want to go?
When I started, I was small. I was about 12 years old when I started playing laser tag. I'm going to say competitively, but not like at a nationals level, just like attending training and league nights. And when I got into laser tag, Leper, who you might know, who's on Vikings, he invited me along. Absolute legend. He was like, you should come play competitively. This is at a 4-hour Friday, very similar to the ones that Alex went to. And I remember just idolizing Leper because everyone would be doing all of these cool like thrusts and dives, and Leper would just stand there and just shoot you. And he wasn't doing anything like shooting the lights out or anything like that, but his timing was impeccable. And I was like, Leper, how do you do this? How are you so good at laser tag? And he said to me, like, because I was like, how are you doing all of this so well? He was like, you just need to do wall sits. 20-minute wall sits.
Every day.
Every day. And I was 12 and I just do wall sits all of the time because I was like, I want to be like Leper.
So by a wall sit, you mean basically just stand next to a wall? Is that what
No, like, you know when you are against a wall and then you put your legs at like a 90-degree angle and your calves and your thighs are just like on fire?
Right.
And that's what I thought the secret to being a good laser tag player was. And then he told me that I just had to count, which was a whole lot easier than doing 20-minute wall sits.
Wall sits and counting.
That's my development in a nutshell. But Leper's always been my role model. Like, there's a lot of people that I look up to, and I think the really good thing about laser tag is that you learn something from everyone you verse. So I'm constantly looking up to people all over every time I play a game. But Leper, I've learnt the most from, and I definitely idolise to a degree.
Well, awesome coach there. Leper was. I remember when he had his big break and he came back. I think it was at the Bendigo. And everybody's like, oh, who's Leper? And I'm like, oh, you just wait.
Don't underestimate Leper.
You just wait. So,
he may be broken, but he can still play amazingly.
Oh, yeah. And he does it like this. He just stands there and shoots you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love that man.
Yeah. How about you, Alex?
Yeah, look, I think since I sort of came into the competitive side of things, Runt sort of took a liking to me and he sort of showed me the ropes, but genuinely Leper's been such a huge influence for me, and CV as well. Training with Leper specifically, you don't realize how much you're doing wrong until he actually sits down and he actually has the brain behind him to say, hey, this is why what you did was wrong. And I think a lot of people can, in the moment, they go, oh, maybe I was standing in the wrong position, or maybe I was doing this. But Leper's already broken down the 45 steps and 18 degrees of where your pack was. And he said, this is why, he'd say, this is why you died here, because you were sticking out, 0.5 of a millimeter of pack or something like that. And
his game sense is incredible.
He really is just one of the most switched on people that, in the scene, I would dare say. And then I really did sort of take a liking to CV's play style, I guess, because, him and I are quite tall. Obviously, he's, twice as wide as what I am. But just seeing like a bigger guy be able to maneuver quickly, and, his timing's good, and he's just like, he's big and stocky, but he's agile and he's quick, and I really sort of took a liking to that sort of play style. So I did adopt quite a lot of that from CV, I guess. And then Runt, he's just this. Oh well, I say Runt, but I should say Twinkles as well. Both of them are just like these fountains of knowledge of just they'll pick apart, ex-player from South Australia and ex-player from Queensland, and they'll go, you need to play slightly like this and slightly like this, and one day you might be as good as us, sort of thing. So, But I think very, very much the same as what Jacinta had to say. Like there's players all around Australia that we sort of idolise it, and we've taken notes from. I mean, as we said, like the first rendition of Archangels had Celery and Link on it, and I feel personally that my game sense, just from playing, one short weekend comp with Link and Celery, I became a much better player just because I got an idea of something, or ideas from something that wasn't born and bred in our maze. And I think that's been really, really important, because we've learned a lot from, like Link in Queensland, Bubbles from Darwin, Celery from Melbourne, Four Eyes from New Zealand. Like these are all people that I look up to and idolize, and they're all people that have taught me something, So and that's really, really special, really important, I guess.
And really good to know, like sometimes I feel like it's easy in your home scene to be told, this is how you do this. Maybe it's a lunge or something like that. And then you realise that all across the world, people are doing that one thing differently. And that if that's not working for you the way that you've been taught how to do it, maybe you can get advice from another player. And that's the one thing that I really love about this sport. Like someone will come up to you after the game and be like, good game, like you did amazingly. This is what you can do better. And that's so awesome that you can have that conversation with a player that you might not even know that well. They're happy to give you those insights so you can improve, so the whole scene can improve, so everyone can improve, which is really, really special.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody's in our scene, so loves seeing each other succeed, don't we? Like that's one of the great things about it, is that everybody kind of celebrates each other's development, and
because you want to be versing good teams. It's
yeah,
like the teams you want to be versing. Yeah, everyone being. If we could get everyone high tier, that would just be incredible.
Yeah, well, getting there, getting very close.
That
was the most difficult 15th, 14th, 13th place game I'd ever played at Pre-Nats too. I can promise you that. It was,
makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of fun. Okay, so and I wanted to talk to you guys about your individual roles as well. So Sega, how do you feel like you're going because my philosophy's always been as a game control. We call them a GC, a game controller, or you could call them a lead attacker, whatever. But my philosophy's always been, there's only one way to get really good, and that's to not be that good at it for a while. You've just got to keep rocking up and learning your lessons. Like, it just does take a bit of time, right? You've got to see a lot of these different situations. So I wanted to ask you, you've been doing it a few years now. You've had the opportunity to do it at home, and you've had an opportunity to now do it away from home. You're about to do it in a Nats away from home. How do you feel you're going, and where do you think your next evolution is?
Well, I think so. This has kind of always been the meme of Archangels. Is so as a lot of people know, I was the one that sort of implemented the Archangels, battle cry before we play every game. But I've only been, calling games since PN1 at Albury. Easy Points has always been the captain, both in game and on paper. And Hobart, I sort of got to spread my metaphorical wings, I guess, a little bit. And Easy Points would trust me to sort of make minor calls in game. Like I might see something whilst being out on attack, and I'd report back to him and say, hey, I think we should do this. And he'd say, no, that's dumb. Or he goes, look, we're destined for third here. You might as well try it. And sometimes it would work, and sometimes we'd come out of a game and he'd say, probably wasn't the best idea, but at least he'd say it's better to make the right call. Oh, sorry, the wrong call early than the right call late. So
yeah.
And yeah, so PN1 was where I sort of I grabbed a couple of the Hobart boys and called ourselves the Warriors of the Darkness, or Warriors for short. and
That's
yeah,
a Sunny Coast reference, by the way.
A what reference?
Sunny
Sunny
Coast.
Coast.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's so many popular culture references that I miss. I have to like double check each time.
Yeah.
You need to get out of your cabin, Bootza.
I know. I need to get out of the bloody Mullumbimby, don't I? I'm
But
also 46.
oh yeah. But anyway, we so the boys kind of said, oh, who's gonna captain for this one? And I said, look, do you mind if I give it a go? And then PN2 captain Wildcats with Bubbles, Celery, Mantis, and Rizzler, and then obviously got the Battlefield promotion or ascension, I guess, and everything became very real very quickly, I guess. And I think, I'm not gonna lie to you. I went into game one and I was shaking. I was worried. I was like, I was messaging Easy Points on the lead up to the comp, like, how did you get us to 10th this year? What do you do if this happens? What happens if this goes wrong, or X, Y, and Z? And I was talking to Runt and Twinkles and Leper and all of my mentors at home, and just saying, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I just had to sit down, shut up, and listen, and just learn from the people that have been teaching me for the last 4 years, I guess. But the main thing that was so important at this competition was the fact that every single one of the people that I was playing with on this team was trusting me to make the right call. And we did have those good vibes, and we did have, the sort of love and support of the team and the community, I guess. And it was really important, I guess, for me to be able to go into these games with a clear head and just call them, whether or not it was based on an archangel touching my shoulder and saying go this way, or if it was just pure intuition, I'm not sure. But it was 100% like, just go in, do it. If you do it wrong, like, this is what PN3 is for. You need to learn from this, and I feel like I learned a lot from this comp, 100%. So moving on from here, I guess it's just get more confident in myself, more confident in the team, and just hope that I keep on making the right calls, I guess.
Awesome. It's so awesome that you got like that safe. It's safe to make mistakes in the Archangels. Like, it's so important, because it like if there's any anxiety around making a mistake inside of the team, it can be so crippling for actually making the right decisions. So the fact that you guys are like, oh, make a mistake, no worries, let's just move on to the next game. We'll learn from it.
We'll laugh at each other afterwards.
We'll have a good laugh. Have a good laugh. Poke a bit of fun.
And to be fair, Butts, like, at Bendigo, we had Captain Morgan on the first rendition of Archangels, and having someone like Dave Morgan on the team was so important. Not because you're not always going to remember everything that happened in the maze, right? Like, it's 12 minutes of havoc and chaos, but you're probably going to remember all the shenanigans that you were, doing at a comm, or, like, just that one car trip where, like, someone ate a banana, and Dave absolutely hates the smell of bananas. And it was just it was those little things on the outside of the arena that made the inside better, and I think
camaraderie.
and camaraderie, and like, having your teammates as mates is probably one of the biggest things, I guess.
Totally.
It's really cool. That's just like a Hobart thing as well too. It's not just Archangels. Like, we all hang out, which is really nice. And so even at pre-nats, after we finished up finals, we just went back to the Vikings house and we all chilled together and ate dinner and rewatched our games. And it's really nice to be able to have that whole connection with everyone. It makes us, I think, being friends outside the game is really awesome, but it also makes us play so much better inside the game when you know that you're just all buddies. Yeah.
There you go. If you're building a scene out there, this is perfect ingredients for how to build a good scene.
Don't play with people you hate.
Find ways to love everybody in your community. I know that's challenging.
Love's a bit of a stretch. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Tolerant. All right, man. Just tell us about you, mate. It's all about you now. Tell us about where you're at, your development, and where you would like to continue to develop your game.
I want to become a lead attacker.
Really?
No.
So she wants your job, man.
Yeah.
I think for me, I mentioned to you before we started recording, I have never been a competitive player. And what I mean by that is, like, obviously we play comps and it's really fun and I really enjoy it and you play your best, but I've never had the mentality of like, I must win. And so sometimes I find it difficult to like take it seriously, and because of that sometimes I lack confidence to like try to be the best, if that makes sense. And so when it comes to things like attacking, sometimes I can lack a little bit of confidence with those sorts of things. So where I'm at, even though I'm still in my defensive role, is really kind of trying to encourage myself, because when I'm competing it's mostly against myself, not against anyone else in the arena. I'm just trying to do better than I have previously. For me, it's trying to push myself to be a better player in all aspects of the game, but definitely to be a little bit more aggressive. I had a few exciting base stakes at Pre-Nats 3 where I just kind of sent it and soloed like Aftershock space twice, not really on purpose.
Don't worry, Holmes told me all about it.
And not like I usually when something like that happens, I go, oh, like I was just really lucky, and I kind of find it hard to kind of, I don't know, egg myself up and be like, I've done well. So that's kind of, for me, it's almost more of a mental thing that I'm trying to get better at, being like, I can be a good player, and I will be, and just kind of getting myself to that place of like confidence where I'm just happy just to go and do it. And if there's any consequences, I can deal with that afterwards, but in game, having the confidence to make those calls by myself and use that autonomy to make good decisions. Yeah.
Unleashing the inner bulldog inside Mantis.
I don't know how I feel about that.
That's so I kind of touched on the fact that I used to play state soccer, Bootza, and Dad, whenever he'd come along the games, he'd always say, Alex, you need to get a little bit of mongrel in you, a little bit of bulldog or something. So that's actually coming full circle. That's actually kind of awesome.
A bit funny.
My mum, when I used to play 4 Hour Friday, she'd be like, "Go get him, Tiger," and I'd be like, "No, please stop. I don't want to win. If it happens, it happens." And it's so funny because occasionally she'll be on the Twitch stream, and her name's Mantis Mum, and she'll be like, "Yay, you've got this!" And I'll like be watching back, just like enjoying the stream, and then I'll see that, and I'll be like,
very sweet, very sweet. Very sweet. All right, well let's move on to talking about this Pre-Nats 3 performance, because we need to find out, we need to hear all about it. For those of you that were not there, or like myself, or that from interstate, I just got a couple of things here that I need to mention. So you guys were, how many teams were at Pre-Nats 3? 21 teams?
21.
21, yeah.
21. So Pre-Nat round robin 9th, Cascade 1 11th, Cascade 2 11th. Then proceeded to get 2nd, 1st, 3rd. So after 3 games, you guys were in the bottom track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then got 1st.
Yeah.
All the way to the grand final. 5 firsts in a row.
I think
from Blue Base.
All from Blue Base.
Holy moly. And people kept giving you Blue Base?
Yes.
It was because we didn't have colour preference. It'd be like, the ECs would come out and they'd be like, blue again. And we'd be like, exactly the same strat.
Oh my gosh. And did you literally just play the same strat all the way through, pretty much?
Pretty much.
Yeah, yep.
It was, I think so. I don't know how System D sort of operates outside of Australia, I guess, but playing, top track, bottom track, is so different. I mean, top track and middle track, a lot of people might go, well, we're not likely going to win this, so we'll play for the safe second so we can get color preference in the next game and we can go on. And maybe we did that in game 1 and game 2 a bit too much because, we got the win out of game 2, but then game 3 we lost it entirely, and that was actually out of blue. But, and going into double elimination, I'm just going to call it what it is, Bootza. I think this is like double elimination in Ascensions in the mid to high tier. That is real laser tag.
Yeah.
Like,
bloodthirsty. Like they're out for blood. Like,
and I don't know what it is. It's it's the double elimination on the line. It's everyone's mentality of you got to win it or you're out sort of thing. And I think that's where we really came together as a team and shine, because we, at this point where we were, facing that down the double elimination in the first game, I think I've got some notes that was 1-up and Crows. If we had have lost that game or even come second, we would not have met predictions. And coming into this comp, I think a huge motivator, at least for myself, was we need to come 12th because that's what Holmes told us we were going to get. So,
look, you laugh, but does that happen to other teams? Because I think that's kind of our baseline for the entire team. I could probably safely say is like we have to make predictions, and every prenups it's been like that.
Well, I was going to say when you said the bottom track is like real laser tag. I think that's part of it too. Is that one, people want to make predictions, but also people don't want to drop from their Cascade 2 position.
Yeah.
Like the thought of there's always going to be those teams that have like had a rough couple of games and they're risking dropping down the ladder. I know it goes through my head. It's like, geez, we can't finish down here. We've got to we have to keep rising here. So definitely.
You want the line to go up, not to go down.
Exactly. You want the up line, not the down line. You don't want to be one of those downline teams. Because then in the review stream, they're going to look at all the downline streams and you're going to get a special mention for that. So, no.
But, so something that something else that I've been doing that's kind of become a little bit of an inside meme with the team is since Bendigo PN2, I've got my little blue speaker that you might see me carrying around every now and then. If I feel like the team mentality is dropping a little bit, I'll bring out the speaker, I'll play some hype tunes, and I'll actually give the team a hype speech. And since Bendigo PN2, every time I give that hype speech, we at least climb one game. So,
and this is like in Ascensions finals day. This is like now a mandatory requirement. So we'll all be looking at each other, and we're like, Alex hasn't done the thing yet, and then he'll pull out the boombox and play this really intense music and give the best hype speech you've ever heard in your life, and we're like, guess we've got to win now.
I'm so impressed that you can come up with fresh hype speeches each time, because
some
people might have one in them, two in them, but you to come up with new material each time to hype them up, that's impressive, mate.
And the best part is that we'll be in like the parking lot just outside, sitting on the ground, and Alex will be like, we're here to win.
Yeah. You got people coming out of bus stops going,
I think 1-Up actually heard heard the hype speech before we went in against them in Crows, and they were just kind of looking over.
What's
like,
going on?
What is SEGA doing right now? And the whole team is kind of like feeling it. We're like, yeah, all right, we can do this. We can do this.
Oh, they were worried. They would have been worried. They would be like, we haven't got a hype speech.
No.
We don't have one.
That's the strat.
So
yeah, all between the ears. Yeah.
But genuinely, like during that climb, afterwards, we won that game, and we were kind of like, okay, well, if we lose this, at least we've met predictions. And then we won the one against Apex and Sharks. Actually, that one there, we Apex and Sharks, we walked out of, and we were like, oh wow, well, we won that one. And we kind of looked at the scoreboard, and we had to check ourselves a little bit, and we're like, all right, we're playing on. And then was it Apex where Shurikiri got double turned?
Yeah, so after we played the Apex and Sharks game, and essentially we were walking out of the briefing room, and what had happened is Shurikiri had copped a term, and it had gone through twice in the game. So before anyone walked out, she just went over to tech and was like, this happened, and talked to the TCs and was like, hey, can you reverse the points? And they were like, kept us all in. We all had to go back to our bases, and we were sitting in there, and we were like, oh no, like, and we're doing the quick math. We're like, if they ask us to replay a game, like, what's going on? And then Grace comes back down, and she's like, it doesn't affect the scores, and we're like, we've lost.
But the boys from Apex, they came over and they said, you guys played that really, really well. And we're like, oh, we played out of blue. We probably didn't win that. And Apex like, no, you guys got that.
We all sat there and did the math together.
We're like, oh, are we going to replay it? No, we're not going to replay it. Just, that they are what they are. And then we walked out, and we, at the top of the leaderboard, and we go, okay, well, we've got to play the next one. So, and yeah, there was a little bit of a sort of thing after that where, oh well, if we lose the next one, that's all right, we'll just go out and get ice cream and celebrate coming above predictions. And then we go in against Riptide and Aftershock, and we win that one, and we're like, oh, we weren't expecting to do that.
It was really shocking, actually. Like it was.
Is that because you missed out on ice cream?
No,
that happened later on.
And yeah, so we were kind of like, oh wow, like we were sort of the strategy that we had out of blue was essentially, like
get points,
get points. do the two main things in laser tag to win: shoot things, don't die. Like that was essentially
big brain
what it had boiled down to. And yeah, we were trying to read the game as much as possible, trying to, play and counterplay as much as we could. And yeah, it just got us to the next game, which was Rampage and Eclipse. And I think going into this game, we were sort of looking at each other going, all right, like it's been a good run.
Our time has come.
Our time's come. Like there's no way. I think we'd managed to beat Eclipse once during, Cascades and round robin, but I don't think we'd come anywhere near Rampage.
No.
So,
and they're two really deserving teams, especially seeing Rampage playing in, I wouldn't necessarily call it a home base, but obviously it's a lot more local. Watching them perform and even reffing their games, it is just incredible how far they've come. Even in like the last year, they're very, very concise, well-performing team. Yeah. So we kind of resigned going into that game that versus Eclipse and Rampage, like this was probably our out. Yeah.
And then we walked out, looked up at the scoreboard, and we kind of looked at each other and had to do a double take. Like, is that Archangels in blue up top? And
it was close.
It was very
really close. And that's the thing about a lot of these games. There wasn't a lot of difference between first and third. Like, it was all really good teams versing at that really skilled level. Like, everyone was really deserving of getting into the grand finals.
I think I had a quick look at all the games, like the last 3 or 4 games that you guys won were under a base, and I think the last game was 2 tags.
Points. It literally 2 tags. Yeah.
And
what was the vibe in before you finish the story? What was the vibe like on the foyer at this point? Like, what was going on? What were people?
So I kept on going into the media room to grab water and all this sort of stuff, and I believe it was Nivier and Dragon were commentating at this point, and they're giving me the double thumbs up. They're saying,
keep going. This is
keep
great.
keep going. This is awesome.
Everyone's like blue again.
And we had a couple of people in the foyer saying, how are you doing it from blue? Like, it is statistically impossible that you guys are winning out of blue right now.
Yeah. It was really nice too, because a lot of people from home were messaging us, like Hobart players, like So Greasy and Gandhi and Dominator, and they were like, keep it up, you're doing great. Like, there was a lot of hype coming from home, which was really exciting.
And yeah, it was just awesome. Like the foyer was like electric, and people were patting us on the back saying, like, good job for beating Riptide or Rampage or Aftershock and Eclipse. And I think even on stream we had people from literally like the US and Sweden and
Moomin's just like popping off.
and New Zealand just saying to us, hey guys, like, keep it up. And then before we knew it, we were playing a golden game against Dragons and Storm. So,
which was terrifying, might I just add. Like,
totally. I think
not at a birthday party.
Terrified by that.
Yeah.
One, because it's Dragons and everybody's terrified of playing the Dragons in a big game. And then you've got Storm, who are just Storm, like the most well-prepared team that goes to nationals. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that was, we'd already had the reality check with Rampage and Eclipse, and we were kind of walking into this game. And I remember Runt was sort of sitting down because he'd just won the second golden game, and he kind of said to me, like, whatever you do, like, just make sure that if you're going to make a call, you make it early, you have to react and all this sort of stuff. And I just remember saying to him, I'm like, mate, it's going to be absolute chaos in here. Everyone's desperate to win this golden game. And we're just going to see what happens.
Might I add that Alex can get a little bit stressed sometimes, but I have never seen him so zen in an entire Ascensions/Grand Final series. Like, genuinely, just like, how little things can happen in games, and you're like, oh, like that term happened, if that hadn't have happened, like yada yada yada, and it can be really easy to focus on those small things. But we're just kind of like on this streak, and Sega's just chilling out, just calm, and because he was calm, everyone was just calm, and we were just kind of like doing our job, and so everything was just really mellow, still good vibes. We were like popping jokes whilst playing still, just because the vibe was really good. And I think that's all thanks to you, because if your captain's kind of tweaking a little bit, it's really easy to everyone to just be really on edge and worried and freaking out. But because everyone was just so relaxed, I don't say easy playing, but like it was really relaxed and kind of easy just to get in the groove and just play the game, which is really nice, and enjoy it as well too. No one was worried about what was going to happen, which is, it's really nice when you can play games like that when you're just relaxed and enjoying it.
So you'd give the team a hype talk, Alex, and then you'd go into the bathrooms and give yourself a Zen talk. Like, come down now. It's like, breathe deep.
I could not explain it to you, Bootza. It was, like, I know that talking to a couple of other players and seeing a few of your other podcasts, especially with Catalyst and how Wax plays, like everyone talks about the zone and being in the zone of, when you're wired. I've had games where I've been wired and this Ascensions I was Zen, and I can't explain it. It was just a completely different vibe. So
I think it sounds like you're in the zone, mate. I'm not even doing a pun there, but like you're in the, this is what elite athletes, that's the space you get to, and this is like one of the reasons I love playing competitive laser tag. It's because I'm not like, this is an opportunity for us to actually experience that part of ourselves. There is a part of ourselves that when you play elite sport and you go to higher kind of, your mind goes to a different place, like a high frequency of operation. You know, you're operating with a bunch of players in an intense environment at a thing that you've trained for thousands of hours on. Like, yeah, it's an opportunity to use that part of our self, our beingness. So sounds like you were there, mate. It's so cool.
It was surreal. It was very, very cool. So I just hope that maybe I can hit it again at Nats.
See what happens. I reckon it was the Easter eggs though.
Yeah.
Easter eggs, secret ingredient. What, Cadbury ones or Nestle? What were they? We need to know.
Cadbury.
Cadbury. Right, there you go, guys. It's a secret ingredient. Stock up on Cadbury Easter eggs. Oh, wait till they bring Nats back to March. It's going to be on. Everybody's going to be less like peaking. Oh,
Yeah.
It's going to be peak Easter egg season. Everyone's going to be fully chopped up.
Perfect timing.
We're going to take laser tag to a whole new level.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though it was very zen, that game, it was still very intense, very stressful, very, like, fast-paced.
Yeah, and I think genuinely all of us, all of the teams were walking out, and it was, you know, like, everyone was congratulating each other, you know, like, well played. And I think looking around, like, looking at Dragons, looking at Storm, looking at Archangels, I think everyone just sort of expected that, oh, you know, Storm have won this, like, Storm have this. And then, yeah, once again, you know, clip up, packs on the rack, you walk out, and there's an entire foyer literally mobbing you, with hugs and, you know, high fives and all this sort of stuff. And we're like, oh, well, you know, we did our best. And then we look up and we've beaten Storm by 200 points.
Yeah.
And
if you watch the game, it is literally the entire game. All three teams are in it the entire game. Like, you can't get a closer game than that.
Yeah. And yeah, that honestly, it was one of the most exciting games of laser tag I've ever played. And not because we won or anything like that, but because it was a bloody good
game.
It was a bloody good game of laser tag.
It was one of those.
And everyone in the arena.
Yeah, before you come out of the game, nobody's seen the scores yet, and everybody's coming out. All three teams are coming out going, "Oh, good game, good game."
Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, well done," you know, good game. Yeah.
But yeah, we walked out, and you know, people are congratulating us. We see the score, and Rizzler drops to his knees because he realizes we now have to play finals, and the ice cream store shuts in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So
there's some ice cream.
Yeah, literally. So
I walked out as he was doing that, and I was like, "Oh, we've lost." And then I looked up, and I was like,
"Hang on."
Oh, we've won. That's why he's sad.
So, but yeah, no, just seeing that, and it was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of sudden realization, and all of a sudden our phones are going off. You know, like,
we're grossly unprepared for grand finals.
Yeah.
Hacking walks around, and he's like, "Grab all your snacks, grab everything you need," and we're like, "We have not brought anything because we were not going to finals," and so everyone's got everything that they need, and we're just like stealing packets of chips from the volunteer room, snacking on between games.
You're totally excused at that point. You're excused for stealing.
Yeah.
I reckon. Like, you got a license to do what you want at that point. Yeah. Walk straight into 7-Eleven and just like start cleaning up.
Yeah. But yeah, no, honestly, our phones were going off, and we're just like, we couldn't believe it. We'd, you know, played 8 games essentially back to back.
We were exhausted.
We were bloody exhausted, and yeah, honestly, what was it? 5 double elimination games. Yeah, that's, as I said before, that's real laser tag. That's where everyone's playing their hardest and, you know, doing their best work. I would not wish playing 8 games of Ascensions, 5 games in the double elimination bracket on anyone, genuinely.
It sounds like a cool idea. You're like, "Oh, bang for a buck." Yeah. And then you're doing it, and you're like,
Doing it without ice cream, even harder.
Yeah,
Even worse.
absolutely.
And the whole weekend it was like 30 degrees, so we were just dying. I was severely dehydrated. I don't know about all the other teams, but we were not faring too well.
Wow. And what's probably we haven't mentioned as well is that I checked the scores, and after 2 games of the grand final, you guys were beating the Vikings.
It's kind of surreal to think that was the position that we were in.
Did it feel
Especially
that way
because,
in there?
pardon?
Did it feel that way in there? Did you feel? Could you?
I don't know.
Grand finals feel so whack. It's like the air changes. It's really like hot and humid, and everyone is playing. Not that like all the other games, everyone's playing just amazingly, but it's like a switch flicks in someone, and everyone's just polished. It's just like just insane the level of play. It just goes up an extra notch in grand finals. So I think when we're doing our little team chats, we're like, oh, like we're doing all right, but like these guys are doing really well. So I think a couple of games we knew that we'd done well in like pack or counting our bases, but it was really hard to tell where we were in comparison to the other two teams. Just because like you're trying to pick up everything, listening to all the bases go down and what people are saying and counting the minutes, they're trying to attack you and that sort of thing. But it's really hard without getting that automatic confirmation when you walk out and just, look at the scores.
That was
it's so true that your measure of like if it's a good game or not is you need to adjust in grand finals because it often feels like you're not doing very well, but we're actually doing better than we thought because all 3 teams are so good. It's just really hard for everybody,
Yeah.
It's like when you make a final in a side event, it's like I did terrible, and you come out and go, oh, shit, everybody did terrible.
Yeah. But it's interesting that you sort of touched on that, Bootza, because I think I don't know about the rest of the team, but I certainly had a little bit of imposter syndrome sitting in that finals series because it was like, well, Bendigo Nats, we were 20th, Hobart Nats, we were 10th, and it's like, well, and now we're facing Catalyst and we're facing Vikings, and it was like we're still the little Hobart Archangels, so to go in and know that at the end of game 2 we were beating Vikings, I think that just kind of proves that maybe we did deserve to be in that final series. And for me, it just proves that maybe I was doing the right thing in those games, I guess. So,
I think just as a reflection, the reason this has never happened is because it's almost statistically impossible to like fake your way to that situation. Like the fact that you guys won so many games in a row it wasn't by accident. It's just it's too hard to do against the quality of the opposition that you had, and to do it 5 times in a row is you would definitely deserve to be there. And it sounds like you guys have got a new bar now, and that's I guess an interesting thing to ponder. Have you considered that now? Like now that you've achieved this, how's the expectations going to change for your team? How do you think you guys will handle that?
Wax said he'd buy us ice cream if we made it into finals at nationals, and so that's the bar. I'm joking, but I think always aiming, and now that we know that we can do it and we've done it, and we did it at Hobart for pre-nats, we've done it now, I think we're feeling a lot more confident, and I think it's one of those things that if we didn't do it, we'd still be incredibly happy just playing at the end of the day. But if we can do it once, we can definitely do it again. And I'd like to think that we'll aim to do it again.
Yeah. I think, I hope we haven't painted a giant,
target on our backs.
Target on our backs or anything like that. But I think moving into Nats, I just want the team to be able to to play as well as possible. And if we can make the top 10 again, I'm going to be very happy because we made the top 10 with easy points, and if we can do the same under my guidance, then I'd like to think that we're in a similar position to last year.
Awesome. Oh, well, is there anything else you guys want to share about your experience before we wrap up tonight? Because this has just been such an awesome pod. It's been like an absolute pleasure to sit here with you guys and hear that story. Like, it's just one of the great, I think, stories we've had in our scene ever. So I'm so glad we got to tell it tonight. And I just want to sort of open the floor and let you guys complete, I guess.
I'd like to just add, whole pre-nat 3 was incredible, and it was because of all the volunteers, like everyone did such a great job organising it, but all of the teams are now at such a really high calibre, and it's really exciting to be in a position where we can go to a pre-nat 3 and have such an awesome competition. Like, it's one of those things, I think every year everyone's getting a whole lot better, but it's really good for the scene, and it's so much fun to be able to just dive straight into it and have that experience. So I'd personally like to thank all of the teams that were at pre-nat 3, because everyone who was there made it such a great event, and it was really fun versing everyone. So it's exciting heading into nationals, knowing that we'll hopefully see pretty much everyone that was there at pre-nat 3, and of course more people, and hopefully we'll have that really high level of competition again heading into nationals.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got to add?
Oh, look, genuinely heading into, this competition, and, watching back the stream and stuff like that, and seeing just some of the nice things that people had to say about us. Like one of the biggest standouts I think I had was Moomin saying that Archangels is a testament to how important chemistry is for a team. And I think that's just what makes Archangels is, and I sort of touched on this before, is we are mates and we are teammates, and I wouldn't want to do nats with genuinely anyone else. Archangels is sort of not my team, it is our team, I guess, and it's just awesome to see how far we've come from Bendigo to now. And I'm just really happy that we've been able to grow both as people and as teammates, I guess.
Oh, so woo-woo, but I love it.
So beautifully put, man. And I cannot possibly add to how beautiful that was. So I'm going to complete now just by saying thank you so much for jumping on tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I can't wait to share this podcast with everybody.
Oh, thanks for having us,
Bootza.
Pleasure. SEGA and Mantis, best of luck at Nationals in a couple of weeks, and we hope to see you again on the pod another time.
Thank you.
Take care.